In the 15 years or so that I've been seeing clients, I've noticed that some of the most capable, driven, intelligent people are also some of the most anxious. People who achieve a lot, who think deeply, who hold themselves to high standards, often seem to be the ones that struggle the most internally. Why is that? And more importantly, does it have to be that way? In this video, I'm going to break down exactly what happens and explain the shift that needs to happen to stop achievement and anxiety going hand in hand. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Tim Box, and today I want to talk about something that often surprises people. Why smart, capable, high-achieving people often experience more anxiety than the average person. Now, on the surface, that doesn't seem to make sense. Surely, if you're intelligent, capable, successful, you should feel, and in fact be, more in control. Shouldn't you naturally be more confident and more at ease than most? Well, not always. In fact, more often than not, the opposite is true. One of the defining traits of high achievers is that they demand more. More from themselves, more from their performance, more from life in general. And of course, that can be a very positive thing. It drives growth, it drives success, it pushes people forward and encourages a strong work ethic. But of course, there's a flip side. The higher the standard, the easier it is to feel like you're falling short, even when you're doing well. Rather than focusing on your achievements, you're more concerned with what you still need to improve upon and the next challenge you need to conquer. So instead of feeling satisfied, you just feel pressure. A pressure that you can never really ease no matter how hard you try. The weird thing is that this often isn't even our own set of beliefs that drive this need to constantly achieve more. I remember seeing a client once that was the CEO of a very successful company. She had 2 PhDs and by anyone's standards was absolutely smashing her career and professional goals. She largely attributed her success to her mother being a bit of a taskmaster when she was younger. If she got 99% in an exam, then her mum would instantly sit down with her and go over where she'd lost that vital 1%. So yeah, it had given her a strong set of standards when it came to success. But it also set the bar so high that no matter how well she did, she'd never really feel like she'd done well enough to make her mum happy. It was that constant sense of failure, even in the face of all the evidence to the contrary, that damaged her self-esteem and fueled her day-to-day anxiety levels. She just never felt good enough and as a result, never felt really at peace. Before we go any further, have you checked out the members area of this channel? In there, you'll find hours and hours of extra anxiety and mind coaching content, including my full control system training and the Clear Your Head Anxiety Relief Program. You'll also get full access to exclusive weekly live Q&As. It's just £9 for a full month's access, and you can join by hitting the button on the homepage or clicking the link in the description of this video. See you there. Another thing that often shows up with high achievers is a strong desire for control. If you're used to solving problems, improving systems, and getting results, it's natural to believe that you can always get control of any given situation, and that attaining control is the answer. If I can just get everything right, if I can just stay on top of things, if I can just manage every outcome, then I'll feel calm, then I can rest. But of course, life doesn't work like that. There are too many variables to truly be in control of any given situation. Too many unknowns to manage, too many things outside of our control. And when someone who's used to being capable runs into something they can't control, that's when anxiety often shows up, simply because we're trying to apply control to something uncontrollable. And the harder we try, the more acutely aware we become of the fact that we're not achieving what we want, which is total control. The more we attempt to tighten our grip on a situation, the more aspects of it just slip through our fingers. For those of us that are used to not having a tremendous amount of agency and recognize certain limitations, this isn't that much of a big deal because we've probably got used to focusing more on the things we can control and not paying too much attention to all the other stuff. But for someone who's used to exerting a certain level of control in their life, those inevitable times when life takes a negative turn, regardless of what we want, they can feel uncomfortable to say the least. When the pandemic hit a few years ago and we went into lockdown, I started to get contacted by a huge amount of high achievers that hadn't experienced anxiety like this before. They were used to being in control, and now they had none. This leads us directly into perfectionism. Now, perfectionism sounds like a strength, and in most instances when people talk about being a perfectionist, they're talking about it because they're proud of the high standards they set themselves. They're telling us that they don't settle for second best, and whatever they do it well. But in reality, perfectionism is often just a more socially acceptable form of self-criticism. You're not telling me you're really good at what you do, you're telling me that no matter how good you become, you'll never really be happy. There's always something to improve, something to fix, something to do better next time. This attitude doesn't create satisfaction or peace. It creates a constant internal pressure, a perpetually moving set of goalposts that you can never really hit. And the result? More anxiety. Perfectionism, regardless of what you might think, isn't a path to happiness. In fact, the need to be perfect sets you in exactly the opposite direction of happiness. You might have been raised to regard perfectionism as a way of achieving success, but that's very probably because you've been sold a certain idea of what success looks like. Is it a certain amount of money, a particular career, an idealized image of family life? Whatever it is, for whatever reason, you've turned this idea into an ideal, and now nothing short of it will be good enough. The fact is, human beings are imperfect. Life is imperfect. Accepting and even embracing that might not guarantee happiness, but it's definitely one of the steps on the way there. Now let's deal with some potential objections your mind is currently bringing forward. A lot of high achievers believe, often without realizing it, that their anxiety is part of what makes them successful, that it's the edge, the drive, it's the thing that keeps them sharp. So the idea of letting go of anxiety feels risky, almost like losing a part of what makes them effective. But this is a misunderstanding, because anxiety isn't what makes you capable. It's just the burden you've been carrying with you whilst being capable. Think about it. Are you good at what you do because you're anxious, or because you're intelligent, thoughtful, committed, and willing to put in the effort? Those qualities don't disappear when anxiety drops. What disappears is the self-imposed pressure, the overthinking, the self-doubt, the constant sense of not good enough. And what most people discover is that when anxiety reduces, they don't become less effective, they become clearer, more focused, and more consistent. So the shift the high achiever or perfectionist is looking for here isn't about a lowering of standards. It never was. It's about changing your relationship with those standards. You can still aim high. You can still care about what you do. You can still push yourself to improve. In fact, isn't that a lot of what makes life so enjoyable? The journey of becoming the person we want to be. But let's do this without the belief that anything less than perfect is failure, and without the idea that we have to control every aspect of that journey to feel okay. Being intelligent, capable, and driven is a strength. But those qualities don't need overwhelming levels of anxiety attached to them. You don't need pressure to perform. You don't need fear to succeed. And letting go of anxiety doesn't take away your edge. It removes the weight you've been carrying whilst trying to become your best. Let me know in the comments if this has resonated with you. Have you been pressuring yourself to be perfect? Have you been withholding self-praise because you've been concerned that you'll just stop trying? Do you hold yourself to standards that ultimately are impossible to achieve? Let me know. And while you're here, please give the video a like and don't forget to subscribe for weekly videos on anxiety, mindset, and understanding how the mind works. But that's it for this one. I'm Tim Box. Always remember, be kind to your mind, and I'll see you next time.